Gerhard gave you a fantastic presentation. This continues from there. It takes a village. No, it takes many villages coming from different countries, many different backgrounds and experiences. This nuclearization is one of them. So you have lots of challenges, but also I envy you because you are raising nuclear nation and you have tried, and I see everything in your that you will be able to make it, but it's a very complex undertaking. There are lots of infrastructure projects. Probably somebody has done infrastructure project. Who knows this project pyramid? Who has seen this before? No hand. Oops. So this is what the normal project, infrastructure project use. We will discuss it during these days if somebody rests with us. So I can tell you maybe if I have time what it means, but let's go further. This is what the normal project is. Let's go further. So I'm telling what the management systems are and what the nuclear characteristics are, and a little bit about O&O. What does the O&O mean, you ask me? Well, you will learn. Who takes the time learns and listens what it comes here. And a bit about how to try to cope with these needs on the top of the national institutions and training programs, which are very, very important. And then a couple of words about supply chain matters. I think that Mr. Monon is also going to cover them later. Let's go further. Yes, the first one, management systems and standards. Why do we need proper management? Go on. Go on. I hate these animations. I just wish that people would never put, okay, fantastic. This is the agency pyramid for the requirements, fundamentals, starting from the safety fundamentals going to practical implementation. You can download information of these documents. Go further, next slide. Safety fundamentals number 1. Hands up. Who has read safety fundamentals number 1? Who has read this kind of document? 3 hands. Make sure you read it because it's pure sense. It will help you to really understand what it means to nuclearize something. I can even give it to you, but last time I gave it, somebody stole it. So it's too good. It's almost a Bible for nuclear things. So I have good books in here that you can read, but please return at the end of the day. Who wants to read it now? Who wants to read it? This gentleman wants to read it. Yeah. But I need it back at the end of the day. Tomorrow I can give it again. I don't want it to happen. Is it online? It's downloadable. Download safety fundamentals number 1 and read it. You are phase 1, you need to do it now, then you understand how to do it. And then apply it to all your objectives, all the important, also for economic objectives, if you read it correctly, it applies. Because it's a safety as high as reasonably achievable, meaning that you have to make balanced decisions. Okay, next. So, you have to establish good leadership and management. And this is these are the, please go still on, I think that it presents several more. Now, there are 4 guys. Safety fundamentals number 1, the management system for facilities and activities, and then the 4 guides. This is the backbone that you need to do. Why? To do reasonable things, to make good decisions for which you collect information and then feed this information from your decisions to the organization so that you can achieve all your goals in it. All your goals in it. Go on. Now, what will come out now, we believe that at the beginning of June, the Board of Governors will decide about the GSR Part 2, which will add things to this suit. So the management is not enough. It also will bring leadership for safety and the culture for safety, more obvious what it means. So management is not enough, that's what it's saying. Why? Let's go further. I try to save time. Because management is about how to organize matters. Leadership is how to lead people to achievement to these things. And both are equally important. And they don't succeed if they clash with your culture. So you have to put them in Ghana way of doing things. I will have a separate presentation where I touch upon the culture a bit, but you need to understand that you have human, the individuals, the technology and organization and all these related things under which you build your management system and make it your way to work. So we can give you the basic Lego pieces, but you have to put this puzzle together in your own way. the agency cannot do it, we won't do it, we are not going to touch your culture. You find a way of that. Next. So why nuclear management and leadership? That's what I said at the podium at the beginning. You have a responsibility, and that's what the safety fundamentals say. And the radiation list doesn't know border lines. And you have the waste for many years to come. So you need to take responsibility and make wise decisions, take all the aspects into account. Before you even come to that, you listen to what Eberhard Rauch said. I'm afraid that I don't even think about a nuclear radiological catastrophe. We have seen it in the trace with Fukushima. But I'm afraid that we will see economic project catastrophes in many countries because they are not prepared for the project work. Because they just took scientists and let all the responsibility for the vendor country or the EPC contractor, so that when they see they have no requirements and when they see the results, they cannot judge themselves. Why? Because they are not knowledgeable or informed customers. That's what the agency terms nowadays are. So they cannot make the difference. So what you guys need to know, what your requirements for this power plant are. Some come from the site, some may come from the regulation, some may come from the owner organization. Good. So here is what our glossary says about what the management system is, and that's what you need to do. You need to make such things that people understand how to work together, how to feed information for your decisions, and then there are processes that go back towards the achievement of the objective. And I can tell you, it's not rocket science, it's normal human way of planning things, but sometimes things go wrong, like with the luggage. So the luggage management process wasn't very successful. But we recover, at least the people are here. But think if this were like building a containment.
Actually, we did it on purpose to have an example here.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I will punish them in the afternoon. But yes. But think if this was building a containment, you cannot definitely, a nuclear containment has to contain. There is no such thing as a possibility for failure. Failure is not an option, so you have to plan beforehand and assure the quality, because you cannot test and fail. You are done. I mean, let's say even if in the pressure test it doesn't go through, it wasn't a nuclear thing, but still your project would be a failure. You cannot afford to do that. So everything has to work and come in good harmony end, meaning that all your organizational aspects and the objectives will be fulfilled. Next. Look at this. Which one of these oil drilling platforms is safe and environmentally friendly, might produce something, and which one is not going to do any of this? You don't have to answer. It should be pretty self-evident. So it might be not enough to be safe or secure and respect the safeguards. You also need to produce things. So that's the challenge for the owner-operator. They have to have all the requirements in mind. Next. Read literature, and I want to draw your attention. All are downloadable, and the last one is pretty recent. Develop and implement a process-based management system, which is a fantastic thing. It has one weakness. It has not been very well written for a new build project. And there is another product that we are preparing about that. But we can share some of the things for you that might help you already. Next. So what the owner-operator, and now you're asking, what is this owner-operator? We heard about NEPIO, and then we heard about the operating organization. Owner is definitely the operating organization. The owner-operator is the owner of the project and the legal entity that owns the fruits of the project, and then to become the operator. So it's the same organization. Next. Phase 2. You are, believe me, you're not very close to, and you should be if you want to keep your time schedule to move to phase 2 pretty soon. And then you are expecting to doing many things. You need to have your infrastructure, national infrastructure right, the legislation and regulation correct, so that all the players know which kind of requirements come from your national rulemaking. Then to establish a good work culture, including culture for safety, culture for security, safeguard, environment, etc., etc. But also for economic success, also for project success, the project culture, and that's a mixture of many things. Then you have to start managing and preparing for the licensing. You have to assess different technologies. You might also assess the financial viability. And then develop contracting strategy. I'm going to say a couple of words at the end of the presentation where agency can help you. And develop the financial plan next. Site selection. From site, there will be requirements that affect the design of your forthcoming installation. Don't forget that there will be design changes even if you ask for a reference plan. That's very important to understand that nuclear power plant is never like a car that you just buy like almost in every country that's similar. It will be cited somewhere, including the physical envelope and environment and the regulation and legislation of your country. Very important. Then the radiological protection, industrial safety, and then you think about your requirements. And then somebody might ask you, well, what if I just make the intergovernmental agreement and just take a power plant? That may happen, but how can you judge quality if you don't think about what your requirements are from the very beginning? We will come back to the quality later during this week, who stayed with us, but think about what quality means when you are buying a car or a TV set. What is quality? That's very important. Then you need to involve your people so that something good is coming. There was a mission of stakeholder involvement. And think about how much your local industry could benefit from it. But don't be over-ambitious, because sometimes we see high numbers of local involvement, which might be true for scaffolding and the site works and things like that, but stay away from the nuclear and turbine building for the first one. That's good. Okay, and then you need to procure. We come back to that next. Ways to cope with the needs. Sometimes during this project, hopefully you have enough work to do and you feel like this poor guy that I have 10 bosses and only me who is working. No, management system should make it sure that your download is not too much. Next. So, try to find partners. Now you have the agency, but the agency is here this week and will go away. We cannot do your job. Try to find partners, first of all, the network inside the country, all the competence from all the fields. You heard nuclear max 10%. You have all kinds of engineering and areas, and you also need welders. You have infrastructure projects. These guys know about how to run projects. And it takes a village in here, but you have other friendship villages in some other countries. So you want to make an alliance with some experienced vendors and so on. But the caveat is always, they cannot take your responsibility. They can help you. They can help you to gain understanding, but they are never going to do your job. So you need to do it at the end of the day here in Ghana. And yes, and this partnership, try to find a long-time partners. But again, they might be the reference plant operators or your vendor and they friends. But again, don't trust too much what comes with the vendor, because it's called business and they are not going to tell you everything, because they don't want to have a too educated customer sometimes. It means more trouble, more questions, more requirements. Next. Then you may have advisors, and it's good to have experienced advisors from other countries to come to help you tell how they have dealt with some issues. Send people to abroad with your friendship companies that you hopefully establish, be even ready to pay something, so that these guys would then train the people in your country what you have learned. Try to get people sent to the design organizations to the operating nuclear power plants, because you know it's still different in reality what happens. So try to get that. And try to get local training service in operation as soon as you have reached the decision. And even you can then call foreign experts to come to help you there. But this kind of local training center with different courses, including all your network here is very important. And don't forget the language barrier. The point you are selecting your partner country, try to get people to learn that language and then send them to that country. That's called scouting, and they give you the first-hand information about what's going on there, including the design reviews later on. That's very important. Whatever you do, you still, again, remember leadership, management, culture. You have to have right leaders and an organized way of doing things. So this brings us back to the management system. It's not going to help you if you're unorganized to send somebody to bring some information like pouring of water to a well. It's not going to help you unless you do these things. And it's all about people who make it in here, and you need to make it definitely in your home country. But still, partnership helps you, and I think that I partly answered to the question. You also need partners outside Ghana. So think carefully, try to establish this kind of relationship. Next. And some literature that hopefully help you in doing. We are updating the booklet of owner-operator roles and responsibilities. So this new version will hopefully help you in doing that. But lots of workforce planning and the milestones material. Next. Some words about the supply chain. What is the specificity of nuclear? And Mihai would say, no, this is not the case. It happens in every industry, and he would be right. Is that the requirements from the local legislation and regulation will have to go to the supply chain and then come back as the product, system structures and components and services for nuclear. Mihai would say, but this is in every country. You cannot bring a car that doesn't comply with the regulation or legislation of one country, and this is also true. But definitely we are talking about extremely complex infrastructure thing, which is nuclear, where there is specificity of nuclear regulation that is sovereign in one country. But whatever people, any vendor, if they come to say, yes, we can bring exactly the same product as our country and build it in Ghana, this won't be true, because they have to comply with your legislation and regulation in whatever they do. Otherwise there will be a clash and problems. So all these requirements from regulation, legislation, from citing your own requirements have to flow down the supply chain and then come back in such a manner that you can trace whether the end product finally complies with it. Next. And this is how, in the other verse, in TECDOC 1740, graded approach is shown what is quality assurance and what is quality control. And there is a lot of misunderstanding about it, that the agency would not advocate quality assurance and quality control anymore. It has always advocated it, and we will write new publication to show this. Quality assurance is planning for quality. Controls are this quality control that are planned in for the product verification. Next. There is a new vice in the field, which are fraudulent, counterfeit, and suspect items. Jouko, are you covering some discussion of this topic in your? Yeah. Which are products that are huge business for criminals. They look like the original, they might pass the first test, but later on, because they are weaker materials, whatever, they will fail. And it's very difficult to grasp them. You need to start, you are in the early phases, so you need to understand that this is a thing and that you need to control very carefully. In my add-on slides that I don't have time to present right now, maybe later during the week, I have a couple of advice for you, what you can try to follow, in fact, to grasp this item, but there is no foolproof way of doing that. The agency is just issuing a new document about this, and you may ask me when it's out, so I can share it with you. Next. Some literature, and please take a look at the, it's TECDOC 1169, is this what I mentioned, managing counterfeit and fraudulent items in the nuclear industry. There is also a new which will come out this year, procurement endurance supply chain guidelines, which is very important for you because already in phase 2 you are procuring quite many services and you need to do it well so that you can ensure the quality. I saw that the quality assurance for siting activities, at least you have this kind of guideline. But we have guidance and new guidance is coming up. Next. Then we have a procurement toolkit for which you get address and you can study it. It's a very good helper for you when making all kinds of contracts and procurement. It follows the PMBOK, so Project Management Institute Book of Knowledge, and the Construction in Industries Institute principles. And a very nice toolkit, in fact. So it's a beta version, but still you can go and play around with and take what you find useful. So this is what I give to you. Next one. And then you may or you may not know that we have many e-learning modules in infrastructure. And here is the address where you find these modules that will hopefully help you to make a good job. Next. Questions? Thank you. I'm sorry I was fast.